Hey guys, Virginia here, Makerspace Coordinator and Chief Imaginator Extraordinaire. I would like to welcome you to the COLAB, the Central Ontario Laboratory, where we use ideation, research, entrepreneurship, and social innovation to fuel your amazing ideas and create lasting change. We are here to educate, inspire, and activate. Prepare to educate yourself with seasoned mentors, be inspired by compelling voices, and activate your plan for success. Welcome to the COLAB.
Hey guys, I'm Virginia, this is the hair that lives on top, and today we are going to be talking about forms of business ownership in Canada.
Awesome, and I'm Jamie Doran. I'm the Executive Director, Research, Innovation, Entrepreneurship at Georgian College, and I'm also an entrepreneur, so you can tell I'm really tired because working day and night on all kinds of stuff to improve our business, but also the community. So let's get started talking about companies. So the first kind is sole proprietorship.
Yes.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So that means that there is one person who owns and runs the business, and they also take all the liability if something bad happens.
You know, let's say you're doing something like you're making a product at home and then you're selling it, and you just want to take a bit of that income. You could be sole proprietor, owner of that business, and then you can keep all the business expenses within that sort of capsule of the company that you're calling it, and you're the only owner, and it's kind of directly connected to your personal taxes.
Yes.
So that, right? So that's essentially it. So it's on your tax return, you would have your T4 from that business, but you would also have this company that you run, and you're the only owner of, that has a series of expenses and revenues against it. It's a way of kind of organizing your activity under the different kinds of revenue that you make or income that you make.
So that means that if you were using your car for your business, you'd be able to claim maybe car payments and some things like that.
Yeah, you'd be able to.
Business.
Yeah, that's right. So like costs of running the vehicle, but also part of your home. So
Awesome.
if you have an office in there, then you could claim part of your house as your office, or if you're storing materials or products in your house, you could have that as an expense as well. Okay, so we're on to partnership. So yeah, like if you were, let's think of an example. So if you just had a friend and you're both wanting to be clowns, and you know you're going to do a bunch of parties and you're going to do all these things, but you're kind of sharing everything. So you're sharing all the costumes, the makeup, the expenses, and you may have some individual expenses like your own travel or something like that.
Okay.
But overall, it's a lot of the stuff is shared. Then you might want to do a partnership, because then what it is you both say own 50% of this partnership, and then you can individually deal with your own income within the partnership.
Okay.
And you would pay your own taxes on your own thing. So it looks on your taxes, it looks a lot more like the sole proprietorship, but you get shared expenses from the partnership.
And you would also have shared legal liability, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So you have
across.
sometimes you have limited liability partnerships, which have a different legal structure.
Yes, but those are mostly for lawyers and doctors and accountants.
Yep. And so, you know, just like I was given with the clown example, I don't mean that like an office full of lawyers is like a bunch of clowns in there, but but you know, the same kind of concept. They're all sharing the building. They're all sharing
Yes.
a lot of resources. Usually they have like a reception person and that kind of stuff. So you would have a lot of shared costs. So it'd be better to do it under a partnership, but then I'm one of the lawyers and I do all this kind of work, so therefore this is all the income I make, but
Okay.
but part of the income goes into the partnership to help keep it going too. So I would
Awesome.
get
Okay.
my cut, and part of the profits could go back in to feed the business.
I have been reading a whole bunch about incorporated businesses.
Okay.
I did not know
love
that
it.
this was such a difficult thing to do. I thought you just like picked your name, slapped an ink on it, and like you're done. And as I was reading through, there are so many steps that you have to go through in order to make a business incorporated.
Corporation, how do you start one?
I found out that the most important thing to start with is making sure that you can actually get your corporate name.
Yes, you have to do that.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you have to search out and like check records and make sure nobody else has the same name as you. And if you're
Yep.
going to have a name, you have to make sure that you have that name set as something that is like has to do with something with the business. Like you can't say that you're, you know, awesome airplanes, but you sell shoes. Like you can't make, you can't do that.
Yeah, you got to stay within your area.
And you can choose to either do it federally or provincially. So if you're just going to sell things within Ontario, then you can just do a provincial one. But if you want to go further than that, you can do them either separately as provincial ones, or you can go for the full federal incorporate.
Yeah, that's right. And it kind of has to do with the difference between provincial and federal laws. So for the most part, there's no difference. So if you start a provincial company versus federal, there's almost no difference. But if you got different kind of global ambitions with your company, you might want to start federally, because you can access federal laws that might help you make some moves that would be more difficult or different under the provincial.
Can you
laws.
switch after you've become provincially?
No.
Okay. More stuff.
Yeah. What else would you need to do if you're starting a corporation?
Okay, so you have to there's some documents that you need to get prepared if you're starting a company like this. You have to get your articles of incorporation. Do you know what those are?
Yes. Yeah.
What are they?
For sure. So the articles are just all the different parameters around the way the shares are going to be created for the owners. I probably got this all wrong. What do you got?
No, that's pretty much right. It's the rules and regulations that will govern the conduct of the company members and directors. So it's basically saying, you know, these are the rules of what we are going to be allowed to do. These are our jobs that we are going to be doing.
Yeah, it lays out the officers, so it'll lay out like who's the president and treasurer and secretary.
CEO,
and all that, and all those different roles, and then it can spell out if there are key employees and stuff like that. You can write that in there, and then if there's different kinds of shares, so there may be special or preferred shares, and then there may be different classes of those shares.
Okay.
And so we'll have details on how that works, and then also details on like if the corporation was to let's say make lots of money. How do you pay the shareholders? What order do you pay them in, and why?
What about the notice of offices? So that's stating the location of the two required offices of your corporation, the registered office and the records office. Can those be the same place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So if I just said my basement, that would work?
Yes.
Awesome. And then the last one that I have is the memorandum. So setting out the rules of conduct of the company. So basically how your company is going to act.
Yeah, I don't have one of those for any of my companies.
No?
But no, not really, no.
We're going to act awesome. That's all we need to know.
Well, I think probably, like, if I looked through all our legal documents, we probably have a page in our articles somewhere that has this, that just says, we are going to follow all the rules of the laws of Ontario and Canada.
Exactly.
And we are going to act appropriately in business and be a good corporate citizen and that type of stuff.
We're not going to be monsters.
Yeah.
What about the final one? The final one, though, is the cooperative form of business ownership. So the co-op. How does a co-op work?
So a good example is there are some banks that are co-ops where as a user of the bank, you're also an owner and you have rights, you have voting rights. Meridian Bank is one for sure.
Oh, Meridian, yeah.
Yeah. But like co-ops can pop up sometimes where you have, let's say it's a manufacturing company.
Okay.
And there was an owner who started the company and built it all the way up, and then now they're getting old and they want to retire. And they're like, I don't have any children who want to take over the business, but they have some employees who say, we could do it. Yeah. So they may want to start a co-op. So they all kind of buy into the company. So you can buy in with cash or you can buy in with sweat equity.
Okay.
And so that you could say, I'm going to just work for this company, and part of my payment, like part of my wages, are going to go into supporting the company and kind of buying shares as a
Very nice.
co-op partner. What do you got there? Like, you must have an actual definition.
So a cooperative is a legally incorporated business owned and controlled by its members, which is what you mentioned. A cooperative is able to enter into contracts under its corporate name. Liability for individual members is a cooperative is limited to the extent of the value of shares held. So I guess the more shares you hold, the more liable you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. If you have more control over the company, I would expect you to be more liable for said company. Okay. So today we have managed to talk about the 4 different types of businesses that are available in Canada, of business ownership. Sorry. So we've got sole proprietorship, which is just you owning the business. Then we have the partnership. It could be a general partnership, a limited partnership, or a limited liability partnership, like we talked about with the lawyers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. The third one is the incorporated business. Mm-hmm. And then the fourth one was the cooperative type of business, where you work with other people. Mm-hmm.
So if you like this video, please like and subscribe and click all those buttons so that you can be notified when we post a new video. And please put some comments in. We try to do our best to cover this topic, and we'd love to hear what you thought, and tell us about your business, like if you've got one started and which class you fall in and what your experience was like. We'd love to hear that.
Absolutely. That would be great. And I'd love to hear some really good stories out of those. Mm-hmm. Maybe some ones that involve some comedy would be nice. Like a lot of comedy would be nice at this point in the COVID.
Yeah, this is a great topic. You know, the back when I was a scientist at one time.
When you were studying space onions, yes.
Yeah, that's right. And somebody had told me, hey, you should start a business. You got some good ideas. And I thought, what does that even mean? You know, like to me, a business was, I don't know, I go shopping or something, or there's a factory down the street. So I had to do all the research into what actually businesses are. And I started doing all that research like what you were doing. I think I just saw a cat.
Yes, you did. I was like sneakily trying to get her off my lap because she's like, I'm going to walk across the Roadcaster. The Roadcaster is what we use to record the audio. So her pressing buttons, we might have gotten some ba-doomts in there for no reason.
Oh, that would be awesome. I have a little ending story we could talk about while we show the other videos or whatever on the end. So my funny story is that, remember I told you that first corporation, it was a sole proprietorship. Then it became the Glass Allium Corporation. And then we raised some money on that. We ran that for 2 years and tried to get that going until it died. Then that corporation kind of sat idle for 7 years. So it's just a corporation with zeros on all the lines, every tax return for 7 years. Meow. And then... And then, you know, we took that agricultural technology company and we turned it into a different corporation. We had the articles redone and we changed the name of that company. And so do you know what it became?
What did it become?
It became a toy and game company. So we took it from agricultural technology and we had it rewritten up. It's now... Screw it. Like, you know, forget about the garlic and all that. We're doing games and toys. So we started the Kaifak company, the toys and games
that's
company.
Hilarious. Was that difficult to do? Like to change all the articles? No, was it easier than just starting a new company?
It still costs $1,000, but yes, it's way easier than starting a new company.
Awesome.
Starting costs like $1,500. Some people say $750 if you do it on the cheap. You have to do some of it yourself, but you definitely want lawyers involved, so it's somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 to start a company.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay, that's my crazy story. Agricultural company becomes toy company.
Agricultural company becomes toy company.
And that company still exists. It's back to idle right now. So
first you were growing onions, and now you're helping people grow their minds with toys.
Yes.
And things.
Enjoy some fun. Yeah. Onions are fun.
Onions are fun. They make food fun. That's their
We
job.
should have just made a box with make it look like a game, but when you open it up, it's full of onions.
It's just onions. It's just onions. Different types.
Crazy
different
onion
strains
game.
of onions. Starts at your most spiciest onion, and then goes into
Totally.
like the milder flavors, getting down to
The onion
Vidalia
game.
with the sweet onions.
You're giving me ideas. I could invent that game.
I would like a personalized onion box for Christmas. I'm just saying.
Okay.